The Buddha and His Dhamma by Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. Introduction. Indications of a growth in the volume of interest in Buddhism are noticeable in some sections of the Indian people. Along with it, there is naturally a growing demand for a clear and consistent statement of the life and teachings of the Buddha. Anyone who is not a Buddhist finds it extremely difficult to present the life and teachings of the Buddha in a manner which would make it a consistent whole. Depending on the Nikayas, not only the presentation of a consistent story of the life of the Buddha becomes a difficult thing, and the presentation of some parts of his teachings becomes much more so. Indeed, it would not be an exaggeration to say that of all the founders of religions in the world, the presentation of the life and teachings of the founder of Buddhism presents a problem which is quite puzzling, if not baffling. It is not necessary that these problems should be solved and the path for the understanding of Buddhism be made clear. Is it not time that those who are Buddhists should take up these problems, at least for the general discussion, and throw what light they can on these problems? With a view to raise a discussion on these problems, I propose to set them out here. The first problem relates to the main event in the life of the Buddha, namely Parivraja. Why did the Buddha take Parivraja? The traditional answer is that he took Parivraja because he saw a dead person, a sick person, and an old person. The answer is absurd on the face of it. The Buddha took Parivraja at the age of 29. If he took Parivraja as a result of these three sights, how is it he did not see these three sights earlier? These are common events occurring by hundreds, and the Buddha could not have failed to come across them earlier. It is possible to accept the traditional explanation that this was the first time he saw them. The explanation is not plausible and does not appeal to reason. But if this is not the answer to the question, what is the real answer? The second problem is created by the four Aryan truths. Do they form part of the original teachings of the Buddha? This formula cuts at the root of Buddhism. If life is sorrow, death is sorrow, and rebirth is sorrow, then there is an end of everything. Neither religion nor philosophy can help a man to achieve happiness in the world. If there is no escape from sorrow, then what can religion do? What can Buddha do to relieve man from such sorrow, which is ever there in birth itself? The four Aryan truths are a great stumbling block in the way of non-Buddhists accepting the gospel of Buddhism. For the four Aryan truths deny hope to man. The four Aryan truths make a gospel of the Buddha a gospel of pessimism. Do they form part of the original gospel, or are they later at creation by the monks? The third problem relates to the doctrines of soul, of karma and rebirth. The Buddha denied the existence of the soul, but he is also said to have affirmed the doctrine of karma and rebirth. At once a question arises: if there is no soul, how can there be karma? If there is no soul, how can there be rebirth? These are baffling questions. In what sense did the Buddha use the words karma and rebirth? Did he use them in a different sense than the sense in which they were used by the Brahmins of his day? If so, in what sense? Did he use them in the same sense in which the Brahmins used them? If so, is there not a terrible contradiction between the denial of the soul and the affirmation of karma and rebirth. This contradiction needs to be resolved. The fourth problem relates to the bhikkhu. What was the object of the Buddha in creating the bhikkhu? What was the object to create a perfect man? Or was his object to create a social servant, devoting his life to service of the people and being their friend, guide and philosopher? This is a very real question. On it depends the future of Buddhism. If the bhikkhu is only a perfect man, he is of no use to the propagation of Buddhism, because though a perfect man, he is a selfish man. If, on the other hand, he is a social servant, he may prove to be the hope of Buddhism. This question must be decided, not so much in the interest of doctrinal consistency, but in the interest of the future of Buddhism. If I may say so, the pages of the journal of the Mahabodhi Society make, to me at any rate, dull reading. This is not because the material presented is not interesting and instructive. The dullness is due to the fact that it all seems to fall upon a passive set of readers. After reading an article, one likes to know what the reader of the journal has to say about it, but the reader never gives out his reaction. This silence on the part of the reader is a great discouragement to the writer. I hope my questions will excite the readers to come and make their contribution to their solution.